Hello everyone, welcome to the 5th episode of my series Keynotes with Calcutta K.Srividya. In the past few episodes, we explored various ragams and those videos can be seen in my YouTube channel. In this episode, we will explore a very pleasing and mesmerizing ragam, Abheri. Before we explore the ragam, let's hear snippets of a few compositions. The first one, a composition of Sri Mysore Vasudevacharya. Bhajare manasa Shri Raghuveera Bhajare The second one, a composition of Sri Papnasam Shivan. Kandavandarul taralagada gati vered Kandavandarul taralagada gati vered The third one, a composition of Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar. Veena Abheri Venuvadyadi Vinodini Modini Rakshama Veena Abheri Venuvadyadi Vinodini Modini Rakshama Veena Abheri. Now, are all these compositions in the same ragam? The answer is yes. All are compositions in the ragam Abheri. Now one may wonder, how is that possible? They sound so different. And even the Daivatam in these different formats are different. In the first one, the Daivatam is the Chatushruti Daivatam. And the second and third one, the variant of the Daivatam is a Shuddha Daivatam. So how can it be the same ragam? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible in the case of Abheri. Because Abheri is a ragam where different structures and different formats coexist even today. And that has happened through a lot of changes that has happened to this ragam over the last 1 or 2 centuries. So in the first one, the format goes like this. Sa ga ma pa ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa, where the da is the Daivatam is a Chatushruti Daivatam. The second one, the format is in this manner. Sa ga ma pa ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa, where the Daivatam is the Shuddha Daivatam. Then the third one, Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar brings a little bit of variation and the structure here is a little zigzag. Sa ma ga ma pa sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So different structures, different formats, all are called Abheri and they all coexist today. However, the most popular and commonly used format is the first one, the one with the Chatushruti Daivatam. And it is this format which we will explore in our episode today. And when we refer to the ragam as Abheri, we by and large refer to this format. This also has a different name, another name to it. Muthuswami Dikshidhar has named this version of the ragam as also Deva Gandharam or Karnataka Deva Gandhari. So to repeat, these are the following notes in the most popular version of a format of Abheri: Shadjam, Sadharana Gandharam, Shuddha Madhyamam, Panchamam, and Kaishiki Nishadam in the ascending form. And the two additional notes in the descending form are Chatushruti Devatam and the Chatushruti Rishabham. And the Arohanam Avarohanam or the basic scale goes like this. Sa ga ma pa ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa. And this Abheri is a Janya ragam of the 22nd ragam in the Melakarta scheme, Karaharipriya. Let's now explore this ragam in detail and look at what are the key notes. How do we explore around those key notes? The first note in the ascending form, the Gandharam. Ga is predominantly used with a small gamakam, a gamakam which rolls between ga and ma. So that roll between ga and ma is the most commonly used gamakam in ga. And we can find several examples. We can find this in the first line of Muthuswami Dikshidhar's composition, Panchashat Pita Rupini. Panchashat Pita Rupini, Rupini Gamapa. Where that gamakam can be beautifully explored. Now this gamakam in Abheri brings about a very beautiful color to the ragam. And it is important here to note the interval, the length of that interval between ga and ma, or that window that has been used for this gamakam. So, that gamakam is very ideally suited to Abheri. But if this window that is available for that roll between ga and ma, if that is extended by lowering the position of ga slightly, now that can happen if the ga is sung with a little bit of force or a little bit of stress or power. So if that window or the interval between ga and ma is extended slightly, the gamakam sounds like this. So instead of it is now sounding like. Now this variation of the gamakam with that extended interval is no longer very beautiful to Abheri. It's not ideally suited to Abheri. It takes you to a different ragam. Takes you to a dhanyashi, or probably even a suddha dhanyashi. So this flavor of that gamakam becomes more suited to a ragam like a dhanyashi or suddha dhanyashi. So it's very, very important to keep that precision intact, the precision of that interval between ga and ma that is used for this gamakam, so that the gamakam remains as and remains in Abheri. Now ga is also used in a double note fashion to bring about a color of this ragam. And more often than not, it comes with that frill from ma. It jumps from ma. And that brings a color to this ragam. You can find examples in Bhajare Manasa. Bhajare, Bhajare Manasa, Manasa, where you can find that example of that double note usage of ga. Ga can also be used as a plain note. Where the plain note usage is also there. So different ways in which ga can be explored in Abheri. The most commonly used one is the gamakam that rolls between ga and ma. Let's now move to the madhyama. Ma is used as a plain note predominantly. Ma is used as a plain note. The composition Kaya Rohanesham of Muthuswami Dikshidhar starts with that plain note of ma. Kaya Rohanesham, Kaya ma madirisa. Or even in a Bhajare Manasa, Bhajare Nisama, where the plain note of ma has been used. Ma can also have a gamakam to it. A gamakam that is rolling between ma and pa. That roll between ma and pa is also very often used in Abheri. Shri we can find that gamakam of ma. Let's now move to the nishadam. Ni is used in a fashion which is very similar to the way we talked about for the Gandharam. The predominant usage of ni is through the gamakam, which is rolling between ni and sa. Is the most common usage. A very, very attractive example we can find in the Charanam of Kaya Rohanesham. That's how Dikshidhara started that Charanam. A very beautiful, catchy line where we can find that roll of the various notes we spoke about. Ni, ma, ga, all of them having that roll, that gamakam with that roll. Similar to ga, ni can also be used as a double note, and that gives a color to the ragam. That when the double note is used in conjunction with the double note usage of ga, it brings out a very beautiful color to the ragam. Ni can also be used as a plain note. That is also a commonly used usage. Let's now move to the notes in the descending form, the da and the ri. Da and ri are predominantly used as plain notes. That is a predominant usage. They can have certain phrases where the usage is included, where a small gamakam can be used. like this, the da and the re can have a slight gamakam, a small gamakam surrounding its position. But other than these, most common usage is as a plain note. Now, there are two nuances to the usage of da and re. The first one comes from the fact that the positions of da and re are slightly higher, which means the da is little high and closer to the knee, and similarly the re is slightly high and closer to the ga. So by virtue of that, these notes da and re can be treated like shadow notes of ni and ga. So you could have phrases like where the da is very close to ni and the re is very close to ga, almost being treated like a shadow note. Where the re is very close to the ga. The other way in which this can be used is where these notes da and re can be explicitly and distinctly heard. Where the da and re can be heard very distinctly. Nagumomu kanaleni tapamama najali geririsa. So, both these are usages in Abheri, and it is important to keep the proportion and balance of these two usages when bringing out the color of Abheri. If we continue to use da as an example only as a shadow note of ni repetitively, it may create some confusion. Now, especially when you use phrases like where the ni has a longer occurrence and da is like a shadow note. Now that is a dangerous phrase. You are completely moved to a surety, because that phrase neither is very it's a signature phrase for surety. So one has to be careful when using this da as a shadow note of ni in the right proportion and making sure that phrase is not reminding us of something else. Adding on to this, something that can be even more challenging is if you use this as a combination with re as a shadow note of ga. Now if you use this, I would say avoid, because now this is very typical to move to a Ridi Gaula when you start singing this combination of re as a shadow of ga and end with a note like a double note or usage of ni and a small da. So, while there are many interesting phrases that can be explored in Abheri, the right proportion and the precision of those phrases are very important, so that we remain in Abheri and bring about the color of that ragam. So we explored different notes, the key notes, and how can we explore. Let's now hear a glimpse of this ragam. Tadari na 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 ri na 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 tadari na 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 ri na 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 tadari na na I'll conclude this episode by singing a couple of lines of a composition of Subramania Bharatiya, set to tune by my mother and guru Srimati Vasanta Kannan. நின்னையே ரதி என்று நினைக்கிறேனடி, நின்னையே ரதி என்று நினைக்கிறேனடி, கண்ணம்மா நின்னையே ரதி என்று நினைக்கிறேனடி, கண்ணம்மா நின்னையே ரதி என்று நினைக்கிறேனடி, கண்ணம்மா தன்னையே சசி என்று சரணமெய்தினேன், கண்ணம்மா நின்னையே ரதி என்று நினைக்கிறேனடி, கண்ணம்மா தன்னையே சசி என்று சரணமெய்தினேன், கண்ணம்மா நின்னையே ரதி என்று நினைக்கிறேனடி, கண்ணம்மா. Those were my keynotes in this very, very beautiful and mesmerizing ragam Abheri. And as always, I would love to hear from you on what are your keynotes and how you would explore this beautiful ragam. Thank you very much.